Will you marry me? The question I waited 8 years to hear. Instead, 6 months ago, what I got was, why do you keep bringing up marriage? You're ruining what we have. I was sitting in our Manhattan penthouse, surrounded by designer bags he'd bought me, wearing the Cartier watch he gave me for my 30th birthday, Googling how to leave a relationship after 8 years, while he was at another networking event where I was introduced as his girlfriend. 8 years. Same title, zero progression. But that was 6 months ago. Today, I'm free. Stay with me, and I'll tell you how I finally escaped being the forever girlfriend to a man who gave me everything except the one thing I actually wanted: commitment. Hello everyone, my name is Emma Chen, and I'm 31 years old, living in San Francisco now. This story took me 8.5 years to live and 6 months to process. I need to share it because when I was desperately Googling at 3 a.m., I needed to read a story like mine, one where the woman actually leaves, actually survives, actually thrives. If you're where I was, maybe my story will give you the courage I needed. I met Daniel Morrison in June 2016, my first day as a summer analyst at Goldman Sachs. I was 22, fresh out of NYU Stern, wearing my first real business suit that I'd bought with my signing bonus. He was 30, already a VP in the hedge fund division, wearing a watch worth more than my annual salary. "You're in the wrong conference room," he said, not looking up from his Bloomberg terminal when I walked into what I thought was the analyst orientation. "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought..." He looked up then, and his expression shifted. "Actually, stay. You might learn something more useful here than whatever HR has planned." That should have been my first red flag, the assumption that he knew better than everyone else what I needed. But at 22, it felt like confidence. It felt like being chosen. For the first 3 months, we were just colleagues. He'd invite me to sit on his meetings, saying I showed promise. He'd explain complex derivative strategies after hours, ordering Seamless to his office while we went through models. "You're different from the other analysts," he said one night over sushi. "You actually think instead of just following formulas." "Is that why you're spending so much time teaching me?" I asked. "That, and you're beautiful when you're concentrating on spreadsheets." The age gap didn't bother me then. If anything, it felt sophisticated. My friends were dating guys who could barely afford Chipotle. Daniel had a driver and dinner reservations at 11 Madison Park. "Isn't it weird that he's 30? My roommate Ashley asked. "He's established. He knows what he wants." The irony of that statement haunts me now. Years 1 through 3 were perfect in that intoxicating, unsustainable way. Daniel introduced me to a world I'd only seen in movies. Weekend trips to the Hamptons, courtside Knicks tickets, charity galas where I wore gowns that cost more than my student loans. He never explicitly promised marriage during those years, but the future was always implied. "When you make VP, we'll celebrate properly. Once I hit my number," referring to his wealth targets, "we'll talk about next steps. Let's wait until you're more established in your career. I don't want people thinking you're just some trophy wife." That last one stung, but I internalized it as him respecting my ambitions. He was right. I was young. I needed to prove myself. Marriage could wait. My parents visited from San Francisco when I was 24, 2 years into the relationship. "He seems very focused," my mother said, carefully, over dim sum in Chinatown. "He's driven, Mom. That's how you succeed here." "And he's serious about you?" "Of course, we're building something together." My father, ever practical, asked, "What's the timeline?" "Dad, it's not the 1950s. We don't need to rush into marriage." But even then, I assumed not rushing meant maybe year 4 or 5, not never. Daniel was generous with everything except promises. For my 25th birthday, he flew us to Tokyo. For Christmas, it was Aspen. When I made associate at 25, he bought me a Chanel bag. "You earned this," he said. "I'm so proud of you." But when my college friend Lisa got engaged to her boyfriend of 18 months, Daniel's response was dismissive. "They're children playing house. That marriage won't last 5 years." "They're our age," I pointed out. "Exactly. Too young. Smart people wait." I accepted this logic because it came wrapped in sophistication and certainty. Daniel was 8 years older. Surely he knew better. Year 4 came. I was 26. He was 34. The lease on my shared apartment in Murray Hill was ending. "This is ridiculous," Daniel said one morning. "You're here 5 nights a week anyway. Just move in." It wasn't romantic. It was practical, presented like a merger rather than a milestone. But I was thrilled. This was progress. This was commitment. "So we're moving forward," I said, testing the waters. "Like toward living together," he said, not taking the bait. "Let's see how it goes. Marriage is just paperwork anyway. What we have is real." But eventually, "Emma, why do we need the government involved in our relationship? We're not religious. We're not having kids anytime soon. What's the rush?" "My parents will freak out if we live together without even an engagement." He laughed. "You're 26, not 16. Do you need their permission?" The conversation with my parents was brutal. Living together without even an engagement? My mother's voice pitched high over FaceTime. "Mom, it's 2020. Everyone does this." "Not everyone, not our family. What will I tell your aunts?" "Tell them I'm happy." Happy being some man's live-in girlfriend? Emma, where is your self-respect? "It's not like that. We're committed." Committed people get married. I hung up on her. We didn't speak for 2 months. The day I moved in, Daniel was at work. He'd left a key with his doorman and a note. "Welcome home. Dinner at Le Bernardin at 8. I spent the day organizing my things into the spaces he'd cleared. 2 drawers, a quarter of the closet, 1 bathroom shelf. It didn't feel like our place. It felt like I was a long-term guest in his life. That night at dinner, I tried once more. "So now that we're living together, what's our timeline?" "Timeline for what?" "You know, next steps?" He put down his wine glass, looked at me seriously. "Emma, I need you to hear this. We have a perfect relationship. We're both crushing it at work. We travel. We have amazing sex. We enjoy each other's company. Why complicate that with outdated traditions?" "Marriage isn't outdated." "It is, though. Look at the divorce rate. Look at how miserable most married couples are. We're happy. Why risk that?" "Because I want to be your wife, not your eternal girlfriend." "Labels," he said dismissively. "You're so much smarter than that." That was the last time I brought up marriage for 4 years. Years 5 to 8 were a blur of silence on the subject. The marriage conversation died that night at Le Bernardin, and I let it die. Every time I thought about bringing it up, I'd remember his face, the disappointment that I was like other girls, hung up on labels and traditions. Instead, I threw myself into work. I made VP at 27, youngest in my division. Daniel celebrated by buying me a Rolex. "Now we match," he said, referring to his own collection of watches. We settled into a routine that looked like marriage from the outside. Joint attendance at work functions, as in partners, shared social calendar, couples vacations with his married friends, holiday rotations between families. But the differences were in the details. No shared bank accounts. We're both in finance. We should keep things clean. The apartment stayed in his name. Tax benefits. No emergency contact status. HR complexity. Separate insurance policies. No joint investments beyond dinner bills. His friends' wives would sometimes slip. "When are you two getting married?" Jen asked at a Hamptons weekend. "Mind your own business, Jen," Daniel would say, lightly, but with an edge that shut down the conversation. Later, Jen pulled me aside. "I'm sorry if I overstepped." "It's fine," I lied. "You know, Mike didn't propose until year 5. Some men just need time." Year 5 had come and gone. We were in year 6, then 7. By year 6, the wedding invitations were relentless. College friends, work colleagues, cousins, everyone was getting married. And I was always introduced the same way. "This is Emma, Daniel's girlfriend." 8 years, same title. At my cousin Sophie's wedding, my aunt cornered me. "Still not engaged, Emma?" "We're happy as we are, Aunt Linda." You know, there's a saying, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? That's incredibly offensive. Is it though? What exactly is he waiting for? I didn't have an answer. The worst part was the pitying looks from married friends. They'd stopped asking about engagement plans. Now they just included me in their mom groups with sad emoji reactions when I'd post about another romantic getaway with Daniel. "At least he treats you well," they'd say. Like that was enough. My college roommate, Ashley, had gotten married, divorced, and was engaged again in the time Daniel and I had been dating. I don't want to overstep, but what are you doing?" "I'm in a relationship." "No, you're in limbo. You're 29. Do you want kids?" "Maybe, eventually." "With him?" "Of course with him. Who else?" "Someone who actually wants to marry you?" "He loves me." "Does he though? Or does he love having you around with no real commitment?" I went home that night and looked at Daniel sleeping beside me. 8 years of my life, my entire adult existence had been with this man. How could I leave now? Year 7 came. I was 29, he was 37. After 7 years together, he finally took me to meet his parents in Greenwich. "They're particular," he warned on the drive up. "Old money, old values. Don't take anything personally." His mother, Catherine, was exactly what I expected. Pearls, Hermes, and judgment barely concealed behind good manners. "So you're Emma, Daniel's friend." "Girlfriend," Daniel corrected, but even he seemed uncomfortable with how juvenile it sounded after 7 years. "Of course, and you work in finance too. How modern." Over dinner, she asked pointed questions. "And your parents, what do they do? Where did you summer growing up? What are your plans for the future?" That last one hung in the air. "Emma is killing it at Goldman," Daniel jumped in. "She's on track for MD before 35. "How wonderful," Catherine said coolly. "Though I imagine that doesn't leave much time for other pursuits." "Like what?" I asked, knowing exactly what she meant. "Oh, you know, family, children, the things that actually matter." "Mom," Daniel warned. "I'm just saying, darling, you're not getting any younger. If Emma's focused on her career..." "We're both focused on our careers," Daniel said firmly. In the car ride home, I was furious. Your mother thinks I'm some career woman who's trapping you. She's from a different generation. She called me your friend. What do you want me to say? We're not engaged. Whose fault is that? He sighed. Don't start. I'm not starting anything. I'm continuing something we should have resolved years ago. Emma, please, we have a good thing. We have a convenient thing for you. That night, I slept in the guest room of our shared apartment. The symbolism wasn't lost on me. My mother stopped asking about marriage after year 6. The silence was worse than the questions. When I went home for my father's 60th birthday, the unspoken hung heavy. Your cousin Amy is pregnant again, Mom mentioned casually. Good for her. She's younger than you. I know, Mom. I'm not saying anything. You're saying everything. My father was more direct after a few drinks. Emma, what exactly are you waiting for? Dad, no, seriously. You're 30 next year. You've been with this guy since you were a kid. What's the plan? There's no rush. No rush? Emma, if you want children, who says I want children? You do, or you did, remember? You wanted 3 kids, a brownstone, a dog named Max. I was 12. You were also yourself before you met him. That hit harder than I expected. My brother Kevin, ever the protective younger sibling, despite being only 2 years younger, was blunter. He's never going to marry you, Em. I don't know that. It's been 8 years. If he wanted to marry you, you'd be married. It's complicated. It's really not. You're just scared to start over. He was right, but I couldn't admit it. My 30th birthday, Daniel went all out. Dinner at Per Se, a Cartier watch, a surprise party with all our friends at a rooftop in Tribeca. Everyone was there, champagne flowing, the Manhattan skyline glittering behind us. Speech, someone called out. Daniel stood, raising his glass. My heart raced. This was it. Finally. To Emma, the most brilliant, beautiful, ambitious woman I know. 8 years ago, you walked into the wrong conference room and changed my life. Here's to many more years of adventures together. He kissed me. Everyone cheered. I smiled and died inside simultaneously. Later, drunk on champagne and disappointment, I confronted him on the terrace. 8 years, Daniel. 8 fucking years. Emma, you're drunk. I'm 30. When I met you, I was 22. I spent my entire adult life waiting for you to be ready. I never asked you to wait. You never asked me anything. That's the problem. What do you want from me? I want you to want to marry me. Not because I'm pressuring you, not because it's time, but because you can't imagine not marrying me. Marriage doesn't change anything. Then why won't you do it? He was quiet for a long moment, looking out at the city. Because I don't believe in it, he finally said. I love you, Emma. I love our life. But marriage, it ruins things. Look at my parents, 40 years of silent resentment. Look at Steve and Jen. They haven't had sex in a year. Marriage kills relationships. So you'd rather just, what? Keep me as your girlfriend forever? Is that so bad? We're happy. You're happy. You have everything you want. A live-in girlfriend who splits rent on your apartment. You don't pay rent because you won't let me. It keeps me dependent. Everything is yours. The apartment, the house in the Hamptons, the investments. I'm just here, a permanent guest in your life. That's not true. Name one thing that's ours, Daniel. One joint, anything. He couldn't. Social media became torture. Every scroll was another engagement announcement, another wedding, another baby bump photo. Lisa from college. He proposed at sunset in Santorini. Ashley from B school. We're expecting. My cousin Sophie, baby number 2 on the way. Meanwhile, my Instagram was a parade of expensive dinners and exotic vacations, all carefully cropped to hide the hollow feeling inside. The comments were always the same. Couple goals, Emma. When's he putting a ring on it? You two are perfect together. If only they knew, I cried in the bathroom at every wedding we attended. Daniel noticed my mood shifting. "You've been distant," he said one night over dinner. "Have I? Is this about Steve's wedding?" Steve was his best friend from Princeton, getting married for the second time to a woman he'd known for 6 months. "What about it?" "You barely spoke at the reception." What was I supposed to say? Congratulations on doing in 6 months what my boyfriend won't do in 8 years? That's not fair, isn't it? Steve's been divorced and he still believes in marriage more than you do. Steve is an idiot. That's why he's divorced. Or maybe he just believes some things are worth the risk. Daniel changed the subject, as he always did when marriage came up. Year 8. A new associate joined Daniel's team. Madison, 25, fresh from Wharton, blonde, ambitious, and clearly enamored with him. "She has a crush on you," I said after the company holiday party. "She's a kid. I was younger than her when we met." "That's different." "Is it?" He started working later. Team dinners that I wasn't invited to. Weekend emergency calls with Madison on the line. I'm being paranoid, I told myself. But then I found a text on his phone. "Thanks for dinner last night. You give the best career advice." Kiss emoji. "It was a team dinner," Daniel said when I confronted him. The kiss emoji suggests otherwise. She's 25. They all use emojis. You had dinner with her, alone. It was mentoring, like I was. That's not fair, isn't it? You're literally repeating our pattern. Older, successful man, young analyst looking up to you. Nothing is happening with Madison. Yet. Ever. Because I love you. Just not enough to marry me. He threw his hands up. We're back to this? We never left it. You just refused to discuss it. 3 months ago, after another friend's pregnancy announcement, I decided to give an ultimatum. I planned it carefully. Dinner at home, his favorite meal, calm conversation. "Daniel, I need to talk about our future." "Emma, please, just listen. I'm 30. We've been together 8 years. I need to know, will you ever marry me? Not today, not tomorrow, but ever." He was quiet for so long, I thought he wouldn't answer. "I don't know," he finally said. "You don't know? After 8 years? Marriage changes things. You keep saying that, but what things? What are you so afraid of? I'm not afraid. I just don't see the point. The point is that I want it. Isn't that enough? So you want to get married just to get married? Check a box, post on Instagram? I want to get married because I love you and want to build a legal, recognized life together. I want to be your wife, not your eternal girlfriend. And if I say no, if I say I never want to get married, this was it, the moment. I should have said, then I leave. I should have walked out. Instead, I said, I don't know. And I stayed. That brings us to today. 3 months after my failed ultimatum, still in the same apartment, same relationship, same limbo. Last week was the breaking point that wasn't. His brother got engaged to his girlfriend of 2 years. 2 years, I said at dinner. They've known each other 2 years. Tom's always been impulsive. Or maybe he just knows what he wants. Are we really doing this again? We're not doing anything. That's the problem. Daniel's latest excuse is the economy. The market's too volatile to make major life decisions. He works in finance. The market is always volatile. My therapist, yes, I started therapy, asks me why I stay. I love him. Is that enough? It should be. But is it? The truth is, I'm terrified. Terrified of starting over at 30. Terrified that I've wasted 8 years. Terrified that no one else will want me. Terrified that he's right and marriage would ruin us. But mostly, I'm terrified that I'll stay another 8 years and wake up at 40 in the same spot. I've done the calculation 1,000 times. Assets. My career. I make $400,000 now. Not bad for 30. My savings. Minimal. Lifestyle inflation is real. My friends. Mostly his friends now. My apartment. His name. My identity. Daniel's girlfriend for 8 years. Starting over at 30. Dating apps at 30. Explaining an 8-year relationship that went nowhere. Losing our friend group. Admitting failure. 8 years. My entire 20s. The theoretical future we planned. The comfort of the known. Every time I do the math, staying seems easier, which is probably why I'm still here. At 3 a.m., when Daniel is sleeping peacefully beside me, these are the thoughts that haunt me. What if he's right and marriage is outdated? What if I leave and realize this was as good as it gets? What if no one else will love me? What if I'm being unreasonable wanting a ring and a wedding? What if his next girlfriend gets the proposal after 6 months? What if I've already wasted my prime years? What if my parents were right all along? What if I stay and nothing changes? What if I leave and regret it forever? The last one is what keeps me paralyzed. I'm not stupid. I see the signs. This is Emma. Never my girlfriend anymore. Emma works at Goldman. My job, not our relationship. We live downtown. Roommates have that too. I'm thinking of buying a place in Miami. I, not we. When I retire at 45, no mention of us. My kids will go to Dalton. Whose kids? Won't get a dog. Too much commitment. Won't buy art together. What if our tastes change? Won't plan beyond 6 months. Who knows where we'll be? Fiancé. Wife. Marriage. Wedding. forever. Family, in reference to us. But I excel at rationalization. He's just practical. He's focused on his career. He shows love differently. The lies we tell ourselves at 3 a.m. My friends have stopped asking about our relationship status. The evolution has been telling. Years 1 to 3, when's he proposing? Years 4 to 5, have you talked about marriage? Years 6 to 7, are you okay? Year 8, silence. Sarah, my closest friend from work, finally said what everyone was thinking. Em, we love you, but we can't watch this anymore. Watch what? You disappearing into this relationship. You're like a ghost of who you were. I'm the same person. You're not. The Emma I met was fierce, had opinions, had dreams. Now you're just waiting. I'm not waiting. You are, though. Your whole life is on pause, waiting for him to be ready. And honey, he's never going to be ready. You don't know that. 8 years, 8 years is knowing that. The intervention, because that's what it was, included Sarah from work, Ashley from college, Lisa from B school. Even my brother Kevin flew in. They sat me down at Sarah's apartment with wine and tissues. We're worried, Ashley started. I'm fine. You're not fine, Lisa interrupted. You're 30 years old, living with a man who won't commit, pretending everything is perfect. It's not perfect, but it's good. Is it though? Kevin asked. When's the last time you were actually happy? Not Instagram happy, really happy. I couldn't remember. Dr. Martinez has been seeing me for 6 months now. She never tells me to leave, but asks questions that make me squirm. What would 22-year-old Emma think of where you are now? She'd be proud. I'm successful. I live in a penthouse. Is that what she wanted? Success in a penthouse. She wanted love. And do you have that? Yes. Do you have the kind of love you wanted? Silence. Another session. What are you afraid will happen if you leave? I'll be alone. You're alone now. No, I live with Daniel. But are you partnered? Are you building something together? We have a life together. Do you? Or do you have adjacent lives that happen to intersect? That one kept me up for weeks. Last month, Daniel's latest excuse reached new heights of creativity. Marriage is a patriarchal institution designed to transfer property. You're a feminist, Emma. Why would you want that? Because I want to be your wife. That word, wife, it's so limiting. You're so much more than that. I could be more than that and your wife. But why do you need the label? Why are you so afraid of it? I'm not afraid. Then marry me. That's not how proposals work. It's been 8 years, Daniel. Traditional proposal rules don't apply. See, this is why I haven't proposed. The pressure, the demands, it's not romantic. Neither is waiting 8 years. He left for the gym. We haven't discussed it since. Which brings me to the day everything changed. 6 months ago. The morning that finally gave me the strength to leave. I woke up to find Daniel looking at engagement rings on his laptop. My heart stopped. Finally. Then I saw the message thread with Tom, his brother. Need advice on diamonds. Want to make sure I get it right. Tom. After 8 years, it better be huge. 8 years with me, and he never felt that way? 2 months of working with Madison, and he was planning a future. There's more, Jennifer continued. He's been setting up a trust fund for his future children. He started it 3 months ago, right after Madison joined. He was literally planning a family, just not with me. 3 months after leaving, I got a job offer in San Francisco. Better position, more money, fresh start. I took it. Moving back to SF at 30 felt like failure at first. My high school friends were all married with kids. I was single, living with my parents, starting over. But therapy helped. Dr. Martinez had moved her practice online, so we continued our sessions. "You're not starting over," she told me. "You're starting fresh. There's a difference." She was right. I had a successful career, $450,000 at the new firm, savings, finally my own, hard-won wisdom about red flags, freedom to build the life I wanted. 4 months after I left, 4 months, Daniel got engaged to Madison. Jennifer sent me the announcement. The ring was identical to the one he'd emailed me. He'd literally recycled his panic proposal. His mother's quote in the engagement announcement, "Finally, someone who makes him want to settle down." 8 years wasn't enough to make him want to settle down? 4 months with Madison was. But here's what I learned. It was never about me not being enough. It was about him not wanting me. And that's okay, because I didn't need him to want me. I needed to want myself. So here I am, 6 months after leaving, 31 years old, single, living in my own gorgeous apartment in Nob Hill, no one's name on the lease but mine. Just made director at my new firm, and happier than I've been in a decade. Daniel and Madison's wedding is next month. 6-month courtship to wedding, after making me wait 8 years. Tom's wife keeps me updated. We've become friends through this mess. Madison is already pregnant. Daniel bought the house in Connecticut he always said he hated. His mother is planning the nursery. Everything I wanted, he's giving to someone else. After less than a year. And you know what? I'm grateful. Because a ring from him would have been a prison sentence. And my freedom, that's worth more than any diamond he could have bought. To everyone still stuck in their own 8-year relationships, he knows. He knows if he wants to marry you. Men who want to marry you don't need 8 years to decide. Not believing in marriage is a lie when he's shopping for rings for the next woman. The age gap matters, not the number, but the power dynamic. I was 22, impressionable. He was 30, established, and knew exactly what he was doing. Sunk cost fallacy is real. 8 years felt too long to walk away from, but staying would have meant wasting 8 more. Starting over at 30, or any age, isn't failure, it's courage. Your friends and family see what you can't. Listen to them. To Madison, girl, you're 26 now, pregnant, marrying a man who strung someone along for 8 years,
then propose to you in 4 months. That's not romantic. That's a red flag. But you'll learn. To all the Daniels out there, we see you. We have support groups. We have screenshots. We have lawyers. Your 8-year girlfriend scam is over. And to my 22-year-old self, I'm sorry I wasted 8 years of your life, but we made it out. We're free. And we're never settling for less than we deserve again. This is Emma Chen, 31, single, successful, and finally understanding that the best thing that ever happened to me was Daniel showing me those engagement rings meant for someone else. Because that's when I finally chose myself. And choosing yourself, that's the only proposal that really matters.
Update from today. I'm writing this update from my office in San Francisco, where I just made partner. Youngest partner in the firm's history at 31. Daniel and Madison are married now. She had the baby. They look miserable in the Instagram photos Jennifer sends me. But that's not my story anymore. My story is that I survived. I thrived. I learned that 8 years with the wrong person is never better than being alone. And being alone, it's not lonely, it's free. Thank you to everyone who follows stories like mine, who comments, who shares their own experiences, who reminds women like me that we deserve someone who knows, who doesn't need 8 years to decide, who chooses us clearly and definitively. Don't wait 8 years to learn what I learned. If they wanted to, they would. It really is that simple. Emma Chen, finally free. And so, the story comes to an end, but the pain it carries is real and lasting. Behind his mask, there may be charm, but also lies, manipulation, and silence. If you've experienced something similar, please don't hesitate to share it in the comments below or send it to us directly. Your story matters. Your truth matters. And your voice might be the one that saves someone else from falling into the same trap. Together we break the silence. Together we unmask the lies. And together we rise stronger.